Hi everyone, happy June of 2022. If you haven't caught on, it's been about 3 months since my last video, which means I just had my updated MRI. I'm excited to share with you how that went, but then also share with you some additional huge news. Now, if you remember back in, you may or may not have seen this video, I'm going to share it just for a reminder for those who forgot about it or somebody who hasn't viewed it. But in 2020, I recorded 3 awkward season videos because fairly new to cancer, having awkward smacks in the face, right? With how work changed, how my hair changed, and how awkward video number 3 was the biggest change. How becoming a parent, becoming a mom has changed big time, especially in that time of year. My body was now just coping with this and being brave enough to share that with you. Because in 2019, I was preparing all my ways to become a mom. Tracking my ovulation, being off birth control, being ready for that next step, okay? So let's first start with the update on my MRI. So as a reminder, I have a new neurologist I'm working with. I cannot remember how to say her full last name, but it's Dr. W. So I got to work with her again today. And this was a virtual experience because she's not feeling well and doesn't want to put anybody in harm's way. So we met with her virtually, still in the hospital, just like where we do that MRI. And it was great to chat with her because she is just fun to chat with. And I got the same news I've always gotten, guys. My MRI looks perfect. No growth, no fears, nothing. I will share the picture that I took with the scan so you can see it for yourself. So heck yeah, God is good, helping me to continue to recover. I'm feeling healthier overall too, it being almost 3 years of having MRIs and checking to see that there's no tumor regrowing, there's no irritations, there's nothing for us to be fearful, no white images in the brain. So that's great. Update additionally on my meds. I know in March when I shared with you all, I'm on new medication, feeling good. Well, what did happen post that update to you guys, I did have to kind of start over because it wasn't super hot for too long. So we increased the dosage from where I left you last. So if I have a meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I take a med and I feel more even keel and more balanced. There's always the potential where I could potentially have to increase the meds again to keep me flowing well, feeling good. Because I did chat with Nurse Nicole at the Minnesota Epilepsy group, and she said there's room for potential more medication. So fingers crossed for good for now. But let's get to the awkward season 3 baby talk here. So I shared with you in that video why pregnancy will be different for me. Me having brain cancer, astrocytoma, is a mutated tumor that under stress, it decides to regrow. It is under that manipulation with me having to grow a human being in my body would create added stress and pressure on it, which would develop the tumor to regrow. So ultimately, I was told by Dr. Trusheim, the first neurologist I work with, who's retiring, he told me if you wanted and your tumor stays as is for 10 full years, you could potentially have a natural birth. Also, Dr. Burns at the neurology team, her as the female stepping in to have this conversation with me, let me know that that could be way too much of a risk. So I was getting kind of both information, and also Dr. Patty let me know surrogacy or adoption is your best bet. Therefore, not putting you in harm's way, therefore allowing a full pregnancy for whoever else will be in charge of that, whether adoption or, again, surrogacy. Now, surrogacy, for those who don't know, is a gestational carrier. Somebody who could have either my eggs or donated eggs or a family member's eggs, however the egg situation goes, and they carry that and then deliver the baby and give that to us. Now, after going through chemotherapy and radiation without doing any egg freezing. So I could have, learning about brain cancer, I could have taken some eggs out, freeze them, and then use them in the future. We did not have enough time, nor was that a priority, learning about brain cancer. So that didn't occur. So me hearing about this potentially really impacting my eggs and my ovaries kind of freaked me out, to the point where we were not ready to get started on this. I needed to get to a place where I was healthy enough to get started with this, and I also needed finances to get started in this crazy process. So this year we were kind of ready. We were ready to get started, just to see, am I even able to have the ability? Because sometimes eggs can be ruined from chemo and radiation. So we've reached out to a clinic. So now we are working with our MIA. I apologize if I say the abbreviation wrong, but first step to the 20 millionth step process of all of this is seeing if my eggs are even usable. So I went and got them tested, and I'm sharing a lot of information. So if you're not comfortable with this video, feel free to exit. Know that my MRI was great and I'm good ultimately. But I want to be open and honest, which is why I have always been open and honest on my YouTube videos. Okay, so my eggs are fabulous. They are very healthy. They're above average, high quantity, which is so surprising. What we learned is two things. One, with them being healthy, is I'm above average, so that's great, but then there is a high quantity of them. And now we learned we could either do no genetic testing and have the success rate be at least 50%, or we can do genetic testing and it increases up to 77%. So we're definitely doing genetic testing, and we're both very ready to get started on this crazy process. So what we're planning to do is a surrogacy pregnancy, and we're also going to use a agency specifically for someone who is wanting to be the surrogate. So if you want to volunteer, you can certainly let me know, potentially change my mind. But I have turned a few people down who have already offered and have already been so passionate about helping me become a mom. But I don't want to put anybody in that pickle. So you and I can have that conversation one-on-one if you're thinking about that. Either way, Davis and I are ready to be parents and getting started with this. So one, no brain tumor regrowth, amazing MRI. And number two, the incredibly long, crazy baby process with having a surrogacy. So prayers for us. Know that God is good, which is why we're in this situation right now, and what it's going to look like for us moving forward. So if you have any advice, if you've done this yourself, I am seeking out advice in all ways, shapes, and form. If you have cancer in your mom, I'd love to hear about that. How do you make this work? How is it doable? How do you work and be a mom and battle this life-threatening disease? I wish I could tell you I'm in remission, but things are crazy here. So reach out if you've got anything to share. Otherwise, praise, woo! Have a good rest of your summer, and I will chat with you soon.